All right, welcome on in everyone to another episode of First CSP, the channel dedicated to bringing you the first council shoulder patch issued from each council in Scouting America, both past and present. Today we're going to take a look at Tendoy Area 109 out of Idaho. This council was originally formed in 1934 as a name change from Eastern Idaho 109 and lasted up until 1993 when it merged with Teton Peaks 107 to form Grand Teton 107. Today is actually one of my favorite types of episodes on the channel, and it's one where we're able to provide some uh, information and examples on first issues or first and second issues that are very, very similar to one another. One of the things that we've always hoped with on this channel is that we'd be an additional resource, a tool of sorts for collectors with identification, because I believe prior to this we didn't really have a lot of video resources identification, obviously also seeing the front and back. There are a number of resources. We've talked about Gilwell First CSP, again, no association to this channel, many times as a first CSP resource. There's also now Patch Vault and Patch Scan, but oftentimes those don't necessarily have all of the councils. Sometimes those have more of an OA focus. Um, they don't always have the councils updated or all of the issues, or maybe not have the first issue. So we do just hope to be another resource. If you've never seen any of those additional patch resources, I'll make sure that they're all linked in the description. But let's head on over to the patch table to take a look at the first issue for Tendoy. It is the T1 with its red border, light blue background, black letters, and has an elk. And that is the description for the T1. Unfortunately, that is the exact same description for the T2A and the T2B. The only distinction between these three issues is going to be the size. And really, it is the T1 and the T2A that have very similar sizes as well. So the T1 is listed as 57 by 137 millimeters. The T2A is listed as 54 by 136. And then the T2B is markedly shorter lengthwise. It's 53 by 132. I don't have a T2B to show you today, but this is the T1, so it measures 57 by 137. And then we're going to be able to show you the T2A. Not only are there the size differences, which are very marginal, we are going to be able to show some distinctions on the patches themselves, which will help you with identification on these. So taking a look at the back here real quick first, the T1 is a cloth back, older style production. I'll leave this up towards the top here. And again, coming in a very similar size is the T2A. And again, they look very similar as well. The T2A, same description there, red border, light blue background, black letters with an elk. Both of these have some production variance in kind of like where the high point is. You'll see on RT1, notice the high point is actually kind of over here. So where they're cut and where the lettering is versus towards the edge, I've seen some variation within the production runs. So that in and of itself isn't necessarily the best identifier, saying like, well, this one's right up against the edge and this one has some space, so then it's a T1 versus a T2A. Not necessarily. Now we do get something of a shape difference, just marginally. Let me see if I can get this over here so it's not behind me. But you're going to see kind of a sharper edge here and a more rounded edge on the T2A. But the biggest distinction you're going to find is the twill. So you're going to get a left to right, more bold grain on the twill here on the T1. And then here, it's almost a smooth twill, but you will see that if you look closely, the grain here is running counter from right to left. So it actually comes down this way. Let me see if I can grab the magnifying glass and if that will help a little bit on these. So we'll see if we can get some magnification. So it's hard to avoid the ring light, you can see the twill there in the super magnification zone. And then we're going to come down here. And again, you can see the twill is now running the other direction. And so the twill itself, along with the sizing, is going to be your best way to determine the difference between this T1 and T2A. Showing you the back here on the T2A. Similar back. I don't think the back themselves is necessarily going to give you enough of a difference. You will see it does look like the back on our, or I should say the border on our T2A ends up being a slightly darker red. Again, in isolation, you're not going to have that comparison. You're not quite going to be able to tell. And they're similar enough if you look at them to me that I don't think the color is all that different. But you want to have this real defined twill pattern, and then obviously the correct sizing. It needs to be, that 137 across. Again, if it's the 132, which I don't have present here, that would be the T2B. These patches do end up being, and you can see just kind of as they sit here on the patch table, they're about the same width. They're going to be about the same height. That's why one is 57 by 137, the other is 54 by 136. They're going to come out very, very close to one another. But hopefully this helps you a little bit with identification. Generally, the T1 is going to be more scarce. They have it listed in the book as 140 to 160 made approximately. Those are approximate values, and I do find that sometimes there are conflicting accounts on how many were produced of a particular patch depending on what resource you're looking at. But they do seem to say that the T2A is going to have somewhere over 400 that were produced. So you're much more likely to encounter the second one than the first. Use that twill pattern to help you if you're looking for identification on the first. Because in just looking at the imagery, they are going to look quite similar to one another. You can see slight differences in the placement of the eye on the elk. But even that may not be super consistent among an entire production run. So be careful with that as a sole determining factor type thing. All right, and that is Tendoy Area 109. Hope you have enjoyed the presentation here of the first CSP. If you're looking to collect, hopefully you find this to be a useful resource with that identification. Again, these ones that the first couple issues are so similar to one another. That is one of the things that we really are excited about as a channel, to be able to bring to people comparisons, talk about them, point to the differences on the same screen. A lot of the other resources, again, that I'll have linked in the description that people may have seen before, don't necessarily go to that extent or have the formatting to be able to present in that fashion. So we are excited about having that opportunity here on the channel, and we hope you guys appreciate it too. If nothing else, it's certainly interesting. We'll be back again tomorrow with another brand new episode. I want to thank everybody that's been tuning in every day or periodically to go back and check out episodes. I want to really thank the community that's been adding comments where they've got additional information on the patches, histories of the councils that they then merged into, the imagery on the patches, all of those kinds of things. There's great comments from our community members on all of our previous videos, so please do check those out. It adds quite a bit to the content that we have here, and we thank the community for that. Again, until tomorrow's new episode, I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.